Hey, 1101. I wanted to follow up with that video because after I got off the computer, something kind of filtered through my mind. I know that in a few months ago, maybe it could have been a year ago, I don't even know, but I remember calling a person that I really don't know. I don't even know, really. I mentioned this person before, but she had I called her and I was kind of pissed off, and I basically said that, I don't want people manipulating my employment, whatever. And so she basically threatened to call the cops on me. And so she called back, and then her mom called back, or I think it was her mom or something. First of all, there's no reason for her to think that I have any sort of dealings with this particular person. As a matter of fact, I have mentioned several times before, if I was to see this person, I wouldn't even recognize them. Like they could be walking in front of me every day and I would not recognize this person. I don't remember what she looks like. I don't know if she's brunette, redhead, blonde. I don't remember. So, there's some people who think that I think this is a very frivolous issue, but I think this particular person who may or may not be associated with this last phone call that I got. she Now I can understand her thinking that, like when I first spoke with her, feeling maybe threatened, or maybe she felt harassed, but we cleared up the issue and I never spoke with her again, but I felt as though her family had something to do with my targeting at that time. And then, I made other videos and say, hey, if you're not involved in this, all apologies, okay? Because the thing is, when things like this happen, you want to know what's going on and you have to cover your bases, and because they're putting you in a situation and they're going to avoid you. Like if I was to knock on, a certain person's door right now, they wouldn't answer the door, okay? So you are basically left to deal with the issues that they started. I do believe, I'm suspecting that these particular two families have some sort of interconnection with each other, and I'm referring to uh, uh, my ex-husband and perhaps even the Lyles maybe family. I don't know. I mean, but I somehow or another everything else seems to be interconnected. So I'm just you know putting the piece together. If people really don't have anything to feel guilty about, then they don't have to be threatened. I already understand, that all of this crap has happened. There is no way in the world someone random could just be starting this shit. Because usually when you are in these situations, it's people that you know or you're somehow affiliated with, okay? And so she had threatened to call the, what do you call it? Call the cops on me or whatever in the police department or whatever. She had relatives in the police department. The thing is that there's no reason to. People get, have their disagreements and whatever. And, when I ended the conversation with her as well as her mother, I felt as though it was a very civilized conversation. And so it is what it is, But I don't have there's definitely no reason, especially now, that I should have anything to do with these people. So I don't want anything to do with these people because I want to move on. I don't know this particular lady, personally. I don't know her. And I can't really say that I ever have. I know that, there was a rental agreement between me and her. And I think sat down with her at her office. Yeah, we did. We sat down in the office when I first, started renting the place. Other than that, I don't remember what she looks like. I don't remember anything what she looks like at all. Like, does she wear glasses? Is her hair curly? I don't know. And so I don't really want anything to do with her. I haven't thought about that particular family in a very long time, And that goes for, if I felt as though, if people aren't involved, then their names can easily be cleared, in this issue. Because they have nothing to hide. They have nothing to feel guilty about, but if they don't, well then, they're the ones who should be going to jail. You know what I mean? So things are really, backwards. I also suspect that this particular lady had an issue with me, taking care of myself, meaning, not, uh, uh, losing weight or whatever. The thing is that, when I was married, my ex-husband knew that I was dealing with health problems at the time, okay? So I did a lot of readjusting my food. I've always tried to be careful about what I ate anyway, but, right then and there, I was just like, man, I was really concerned because I was facing an issue that I was just constantly worried about. So I started taking care of myself. And then, he would encourage me to go out in the garage and he would help me, because I kept thinking, you know what, I want to be able to improve my muscle tone, and so, I always admired, because he had equipment and stuff like that. So it's funny how you get these people who want to encourage you, but then on the other hand, they kind of want to, I don't know, he also knew about my hair too, so how this could be an issue, it's ridiculous. But I don't want anything to do with these people. I really don't, I'm not even mentioning her name, but I'm just gonna say it was within that particular family, and so I just want to move on, When I got that phone call, though, I know that a lot of people are getting these kind of phone calls. I know that, like I mentioned, the Social Security Administration, they would not handle things in that manner, okay? If it was a serious issue, I would be probably served with papers first. There's a certain procedure that has to take place before things like this happen, and only a stupid person would fall for that, but I'm just basically letting people know that, you've got to be careful. All kinds of scams, and I was thinking about how the elderly people are oftentimes targets for scams, because, they convince a lot of elderly people to do a lot of stuff, and a lot of people they fall for it. I remember somebody told me one time, I was a guy, and he was telling me that he had to pay. I guess this dude was like one of those people that was always like on the web looking at dirty things, and so eventually a message popped up saying, they were going to report him for looking at these particular websites. Now, I don't know what kind of porn he was looking at. I have no idea, okay? But he was basically saying that he had to pay a certain amount of money for looking at these particular sites. So chances are he may have been looking at something that was completely illegal, like maybe kids that were underage or something. Who knows? But anyway, he a message popped up and said that he had to pay a certain amount of money, and he was dumb enough to pay it, and I guess it's because they were saying, well, I guess if you don't pay, we're going to go ahead and report all this shit or whatever. And so he ended up paying, and the thing is that I'm not saying that he shouldn't be penalized in some way, like, because obviously that's against the law. But, if he really thought about it, if it was an issue, it would be handled directly through law enforcement, okay? Directly through them. So, there's a lot of things that are going on, and people need to keep a calm head and realize that they can't just do this kind of bullshit. They can't. You have rights, and there's a certain procedure that needs to be followed before they do that, So anyway, that's what I wanted to say, and I really don't want to make any more videos today. I'm really tired, I'm really, really drained, and I don't want to think about, my family. I don't want to think about their family. I don't want to think about the Lyles, and I don't want to think about any of that. I really don't. I realize that what happened to me is a very, it was an injustice, and I think that there's a lot of ignorance here. Like, I think there's a lot of ignorance, well, everywhere, really, but, what people think or what they try to use to justify why they think they could call the cops or whatever, it's just ridiculous. You know, I prefer not to have anything to do with law enforcement. I really don't. Only because I understand that even lawyers, okay, have a very small understanding of the law. So, you know, I certainly don't want to deal with people who are carrying guns and you know, what do you call those, batons or anything like that. I don't want to deal with these people. Because, you know, you see a lot of people, and I'm not saying I personally experienced anything negative by the law enforcement here, but I've heard other people telling their stories, and it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's understandable for certain people who get in positions of authority to abuse it. No, I'm not saying all cops are like that. I'm not saying that. But, you know, I'm sure it's very possible, okay? It's not an easy thing for a lot of people to have authority, because when they get authority, oftentimes they like to abuse it. And, you know, you just have to be careful out there, okay? So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I really just don't want any more clinging on, any more, you know, people thinking that they want to, you know, I have a right to speak up, you know, and I have a right to live my life, you know. I don't want to remember or be associated with that family. You know, if I was to see my ex-husband walking around or whatever, if I, like to say, right, turn the corner at the store or whatever, and I faced him, I wouldn't be mean to him. I really wouldn't. You know, I don't hate him. I really don't. I don't hate him. But I don't appreciate him being, what do you call it? I don't appreciate him, you know, knowing that my employment was manipulated and him keeping a secret from me like that. I don't appreciate that. And, you know, but then again, you know, I understand that there's a lot of mind control that goes on with people, and they can live these double lives and not really think about it. Like, they can compartmentalize, you know, certain brain functions, whether they realize it or not. Like, you know, he could sit there and laugh and talk and whatever, and then on the other hand, he might be doing something that's completely opposite, you know. That's all I really want to say. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up, and I don't want to make any more videos today. I'm going to focus on my art project after I get up and ready to move around. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I will make another video when I have something other than this to talk about. Have a great day.